All right, so continuing on package, whoa, now I'm moving week 16. There we go. Continuing on week 16, today is May 11th, and we are going to continue on your packaging development. So the goal is that you will be finished with this project by Friday, that everything should be on your mock-up. So yesterday, the goal was to find a mock-up and start working on it. And today you're going to continue kind of finalizing your ideas, looking at where your pattern is working, looking where your pattern maybe is not working. Again, you're not required to use your pattern, but it's something that you may want to use somewhere on your design work. You could even use your pattern only in strips or only in certain shapes. You wouldn't have to put your pattern everywhere. So when you have your pattern created and you're working on your design, when we were using your pattern for the first time, I was showing you how to cover your whole background with your pattern. If you were to make a new layer and just select an area, you could tell the pattern to only go in that area. So I would like to demonstrate that to you. So I am going to open up a Photopea document. So I'm going to say a new project. Now this would be your smart object that you would be working on, not just a new document. You would be working on a smart object. So I would make a new layer. And so let's say I wanted a strip just at the top that was filled with my pattern. I could put whatever color backgrounds I wanted. So maybe I wanted a black background. I could fill. Let me try that again. I have my area selected. I could fill that area. And then I could go to my pattern overlay. Now my custom pattern is no longer loaded in here because Photopea is a web-based program. So the pattern document that you made, you would have to make a new pattern again. You wouldn't have to develop the pattern. You would just have to open up that document and say new pattern. Okay? But I could still change it, so that's kind of cool, little hex, little like beehive. And the fun thing is, so if I had made this pattern in this color, and I could go back and edit my original pattern, or you can always start to layer objects. So I could put a color overlay on this, and I could change my opacity. So you can see that a little on the screen. So now I have my pattern, and my pattern's only in a strip, but I changed the color, the actual look of my pattern. Okay, so sometimes a pattern can be really harsh, and sometimes your text might not read well on a pattern. So this would be one way. So if I wanted a completely irregular shape, I don't know what that shape is off the top of my head, but I could use my pen tool. Make whatever that irregular pattern is. And now this irregular pattern, this irregular shape, I can put a pattern in there. So patterns don't just have to be solid on your screen as a solid background. Okay? So think about where maybe you could incorporate the pattern. Where's your main logo going to go? You have your supporting details that need to go in. We have to have at least two sides, basically a front and a back, but if you have a box and you have two sides and a top, whatever pattern mock-up you chose, even if it had 17 sides, I want you to make it look like a finished product. Something else that you can do, your patterns, you can always play with the opacity. So having your pattern kind of receding in the backgrounds, even if this pattern was filling, I really wanted to there we go. If I had this pattern, maybe it's filling my whole background. I can definitely tell there's a pattern there, but you could put your text on top of it, and it would read well. And that was playing with the opacity. So if you're working, you may have some secondary text that needs, a little more oomph to it. Don't forget that you do have all those layer styles. Sometimes a simple drop shadow can really help your text read well. When it comes to a lot of those information pieces, the information does need to read very easily. Sometimes you will see that a white box is used. And then the text is inside of that white box. So these are very harsh corners. Sometimes we want things to be a little more subtle and a little smooth. I thought, yeah, right here, our corner radius. So I'm going to exaggerate up to a 6 just so it's a little easier. But you do need to change this first and hit enter, but then click and drag. Let me make that even, emphasize that more so you can see it on my screen. Now, do you see those radiuses? So that is going to be softer to the eye than these harsh corners, okay? Because sometimes that information, honestly, we don't necessarily maybe want the consumer to see. Maybe we have reduced the number of ounces in our packaging. I think it was ice cream, and I probably want to say it started 10 years ago. It used to be you bought a gallon of ice cream. You don't usually buy a gallon of ice cream anymore. I can't tell you what the exact measurement is. But yeah, it's less than that, less than the half gallon that you used to buy. So that kind of information they don't always want to stand out to the consumer. When you're using these shape tools, any of them, there are all kinds of options up here that you can work with. So definitely explore. Those of you that are in class, ask questions. If you're like, hey, I saw this on a package. How would I do this? I'll gladly answer it. Those of you that are working from home, please show me an example, email me a question, send me a video question. I like to talk to students about their designs, but it has to be a two-way street. It can't just be me always telling you about your design. Ask some questions. Hey, I saw this. How would I do this? Sound good? Questions as we move forward today. Now, those of you that are in class today, in person, very important that when that 5-minute bell rings today, and those of you at home, you still need to get a screenshot each day. So 5-minute bell, you guys need to get your screenshot, but you also need to make sure you download your PSD and upload your PSD to Google Drive. Why is that so important to do today? Yes, because you are expected to work on this assignment during your remote day. So I will try to remind you, but at the 5-minute bell, make sure we're doing our screenshot and downloading the PSD and then uploading it, okay? And don't forget your screenshot. Those of you at home, it's really important that you're remembering your screenshot so I can see your daily progress. I hope to hear some email questions about how to do certain design work, and I look forward to the progress that you guys make today. Have fun and good luck.